Welcome to Big Breaking News of America. Death Row Criminals Final 24 Hours Episode 1. Detailed report on Dylann Roof, federal case. This report provides a comprehensive overview of Dylann Roof's federal case, covering the crime, evidence, trial, verdict, family reactions, public reactions, the status of the verdict execution within the last 24 hours, and the penalty execution process. The case is notable for its brutality, racial motivations, and its significant impact on discussions about race, hate crimes, and justice in the United States. Below, each aspect is explored in detail, structured for clarity and readability. 1. Introduction to Dylann Roof and the crime. Dylann Storm Roof, born on 3 April 1994, in Columbia, South Carolina, is an American white supremacist who committed one of the deadliest racially motivated mass shootings in recent U.S. history. On 17 June 2015, Roof entered the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina, and murdered 9 African American parishioners during a Bible study session. The crime shocked the nation due to its premeditated nature, targeting of a historic black church, and Roof's explicit racist ideology, which he later articulated as a desire to ignite a race war. The Emmanuel AME Church, often referred to as Mother Emmanuel, has a storied history dating back to 1816 and is a symbol of resilience within the African American community. Roof's attack was not only an assault on the individuals present but also an attempt to strike at the cultural and spiritual heart of this community. This report delves into the specifics of the crime, the legal proceedings that followed, and the broader implications of the case. 2. Details of the crime. When and where it happened. The massacre occurred on the evening of 17 June, 2015, at approximately 9 p.m. EDT, inside the Emmanuel AME Church located at 110 Calhoun Street, Charleston, South Carolina. Roof entered the church around 8 p.m., joining a Bible study group that welcomed him despite his status as a stranger. The victims. Roof killed 9 individuals and injured 1 survivor, Felicia Sanders, who pretended to be dead to protect her granddaughter. The victims were Cynthia Graham Hurd, 54, a librarian and church member. Susie Jackson, 87, a longtime churchgoer and choir member. Ethel Lee Lance, 70, a sexton at the church. Reverend DePayne Middleton Dr., 49, a pastor and mother of 4. Reverend Clementa Pinckney, 41, the church's senior pastor and a South Carolina state senator. Tywanza Sanders, 26, a recent college graduate and Felicia Sanders' son. Reverend Daniel Lee Simmons Sr., 74, a retired pastor and Vietnam War veteran. Reverend Sharonda Coleman Singleton, 45, a pastor, speech therapist, and track coach. Myra Thompson, 59, a Bible study teacher. These individuals were beloved members of their families and community, and their deaths left a profound void. Motivation behind the crime. Roof's actions were driven by a deeply ingrained white supremacist ideology. In a manifesto he later posted online, he expressed hatred toward African Americans, claiming they were taking over the country and citing debunked racial stereotypes. He referenced the Trayvon Martin case as a catalyst for his radicalization and admired historical segregationist and supremacist movements. During the attack, Roof reportedly told victims, "I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country. And you have to go." His intent was to provoke racial conflict, a motive underscored by his choice of a symbolically significant black church. 3. Evidence presented. The federal case against Roof relied on a robust array of physical, testimonial, and documentary evidence that left little doubt of his guilt. Physical evidence. Weapon. Roof used a .45 caliber Glock handgun, which he legally purchased in April 2015 from a West Columbia gun store. He acquired the firearm using money from his parents, exploiting a loophole in background check procedures despite prior drug-related arrests. Ammunition. Investigators recovered 88 shell casings at the scene, a number Roof chose symbolically due to its association with neo-Nazi ideology, the eighth letter of the alphabet, H repeated twice for Heil Hitler. Photographs. Roof's cell phone and a website he maintained contained images of him posing with Confederate flags, firearms, and racist symbols, including a photo at a Confederate heritage site. Witnesses. Survivors, Felicia Sanders and Polly Shepard provided harrowing accounts. Sanders described Roof shooting her son Tywanza as he tried to intervene, while Shepard recalled Roof sparing her life, saying, "I'm going to leave you here to tell the story." Eyewitness testimony. Churchgoers who saw Roof enter and sit with the group before the shooting corroborated the premeditated nature of the attack. Roof's confession and statements. FBI interrogation. After his arrest on the 18th of June, 2015, in Shelby, North Carolina, following a tip from a motorist, Roof confessed to the killings during a 2-hour FBI interview. He admitted to planning the attack for months, choosing the church for its historical significance, and expressed no remorse, stating he hoped to start a race war. Manifesto, a 2,000-word document found online, written by Roof, detailed his racist beliefs, admiration for white supremacist groups, and intent to commit mass violence. He wrote, "I have no choice. Someone has to take a stand against the constant lies." This evidence painted a clear picture of Roof as a calculated killer motivated by hate, forming the backbone of the federal prosecution's case. For the trial. Timeline. Roof faced both state and federal charges, but this report focuses on the federal trial, which proceeded first. The federal trial began with jury selection in November 2016 and opening statements on the 7th of December 2016, in the U.S. District Court in Charleston, presided over by Judge Richard Jargel. The guilt phase concluded on the 15th of December 2016, followed by the penalty phase, which ended with sentencing on the 11th of January 2017. Charges. Roof was indicted on 33 federal counts, including 9 counts of hate crimes resulting in death, under the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act. 3 counts of hate crimes involving an attempt to kill, for the survivors. 9 counts of using a firearm to commit murder during a violent crime. 12 counts of obstructing the exercise of religion resulting in death, under the Church Arson Prevention Act. Plea and defense. Roof pleaded not guilty, though he later offered to plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence, which prosecutors rejected due to the case's severity. Representing himself during the penalty phase, against his standby counsel's advice, Roof presented no witnesses and offered minimal defense, focusing instead on asserting his lack of mental illness and standing by his actions. His decision to self-represent highlighted his unrepentant stance. Key moments. Prosecution's case. The government presented survivor testimonies, Roof's confession, and his manifesto, emphasizing the premeditation and racial animus. Emotional accounts from Felicia Sanders and Polly Shepard moved the courtroom. Roof's statements. During the penalty phase, Roof told the jury, "I still feel like I had to do it," showing no remorse and reinforcing his ideology. Defense mitigation. Standby counsel attempted to introduce evidence of mental health issues, but Roof blocked these efforts, insisting he was sane and his actions were principled. The trial was marked by Roof's cold demeanor and the overwhelming evidence of his guilt, setting the stage for a swift verdict. 5. Verdict. Jury's decision. On the 15th of December, 2016, after less than 3 hours of deliberation, the jury of 9 white and 3 black members found Roof guilty on all 33 federal counts. On the 10th of January, 2017, following the penalty phase, the same jury unanimously sentenced him to death, making him the first person in U.S. history to receive a federal death sentence for a hate crime. Deliberation and reaction. The brevity of the guilt phase deliberation reflected the strength of the evidence. In the penalty phase, jurors deliberated for about 2 hours, indicating a consensus on the death penalty given the crime's brutality and Roof's lack of remorse. Immediate courtroom reactions included tears from victims' families and a somber acknowledgement of justice served, though some expressed mixed feelings about capital punishment. 6. Family reactions. Victims' families. The response from the victims' families was a mix of grief, relief, and remarkable forgiveness. Felicia Sanders, who lost her son Tywanza, said at Roof's bond hearing, "You took something very precious from me, but I forgive you." Her testimony during the trial was a testament to her strength. Nadine Collier, daughter of Ethel Lance, told Roof, "I forgive you. You hurt me, you hurt a lot of people, but God forgives you, and I forgive you." Reverend Anthony Thompson, widower of Myra Thompson, expressed forgiveness but supported the death penalty, stating, "I want him to pay for what he did." Despite their pain, many families leaned on their faith, advocating healing over vengeance, though some endorsed the death sentence as justice. Roof's family. Roof's family issued a brief public statement after his arrest. "We are devastated and saddened by this tragedy. We extend our deepest sympathies to the families and friends of the victims." His father, Franklin Roof, and other relatives largely remained silent thereafter, with no significant statements following the verdict, likely due to shame or legal advice. Reports suggest Roof became estranged from his family as his radicalization deepened. 7. Public reaction. Community and national response. The Charleston community rallied around the victims, holding vigils and unity marches. Nationally, the massacre reignited debates about race, gun control, and the Confederate flag, which Roof idolized. South Carolina removed the flag from its state house grounds in July 2015, a move spurred by the tragedy. Media and public figures. Media coverage was extensive, with outlets like CNN and the New York Times highlighting the racial motivations and systemic issues. President Barack Obama delivered a eulogy at Reverend Pinckney's funeral, singing Amazing Grace and calling for action on gun violence and racism. Civil rights groups, such as the NAACP, condemned Roof's actions and pushed for hate crime legislation enforcement. Protests and discussions. While no major protests erupted post-verdict, the case fueled discussions on white supremacy, with organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center noting a rise in hate group activity. The public largely supported the death penalty in this case, though some activists questioned its morality and effectiveness as a deterrent. 8 verdict execution, last 24 hours. As of the last 24 hours, up to October 2023, Dylann Roof remains on federal death row at the United States Penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana. No execution has occurred, and there are no reports of imminent action within this time frame. Roof's legal team has pursued appeals, arguing procedural errors and his mental competency, though these have been repeatedly denied. The most recent significant update was in August 2021, when the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld his death sentence, affirming the trial's fairness. The federal death penalty process is notoriously slow, often delayed by appeals and moratoriums. Under the Biden administration, a moratorium on federal executions has been in place since 2021, halting executions pending a review of protocols, meaning no execution date is currently scheduled. 9. Penalty execution. The penalty. Roof was sentenced to death by lethal injection, the standard method for federal executions. This penalty reflects the severity of his crimes, classified as a federal hate crime and terrorism act. Process and timeline. The federal death penalty process involves multiple stages. Sentencing, completed the 11th of January 2017. Appeals. Roof exhausted direct appeals with the Fourth Circuit's 2021 ruling. He could still seek Supreme Court review or clemency, though both are unlikely given his stance and the case's profile. Execution scheduling requires approval from the Bureau of Prisons and the Attorney General, currently stalled by the moratorium. Historically, federal executions are rare, only 16 occurred between 1988 and 2020, but Roof's case is a candidate due to its gravity. However, the moratorium and legal challenges could delay execution indefinitely. Factors affecting execution. Moratorium. The Biden administration's pause on executions prioritizes reviewing racial bias and procedural issues. Public opinion. While many support Roof's execution, abolitionists argue against it, citing moral and systemic concerns. Roof's attitude. His lack of remorse and refusal to appeal on mental health grounds may expedite proceedings if the moratorium lifts. 10. Conclusion. Dylann Roof's federal case is a stark reminder of the persistence of racial hatred in America. The murder of 9 innocent churchgoers, the overwhelming evidence of his guilt, and the subsequent death sentence underscore the justice system's response to hate-driven violence. The trial revealed Rufe's chilling intent and the resilience of the victims' families, whose forgiveness amidst grief captivated the nation. Public reaction catalyzed change, from Confederate flag removals to heightened awareness of white supremacy, though it also exposed deep societal divides. As of now, Rufe awaits execution, his fate tied to legal and political currents. The case's legacy lies in its call for unity, reflection on justice, and the ongoing fight against hate. How society moves forward, balancing punishment with healing, remains a question this tragedy continues to pose. Thank you for watching Big Breaking News of America. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for more news updates. Share our channel with your friends and family members, leave a like for more videos and express your thoughts under comment section.